Hello everyone, welcome to the Worthit podcast. My name is Thomas.
And I'm JD again.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm tired, Tom. We've just gotten off a set for Ghostly X.
And you know what? It's actually gone really well. So
too well.
Way too well, like strangely well. But well is good. That means we're getting better. We're definitely at a point now, I think, our planning, our preparation, all of that jazz, it's really coming there. It's getting there. It's good.
We're getting better or we're getting luckier?
No, definitely lucky. No, 100% better. And it always comes with practice, isn't it? Every single time that you do anything, if you just practice and practice and practice, you'll then get to a point at which you can safely say, yeah, I can do this now. And I think we're finally getting to that point where we've worked together enough that we can safely say, yeah, we can do this. We can like rock on and get something filmed and done. And it's really nice because it's the first time that we've actually done a project where we've hopped from film to film. So we've gone straight out of interview and then straight into the Ghostly X. So as you just said then, yes, day one is complete. We finished the first day of shooting. And it's a different environment, it's a different setting. There's different cast that we're working with and a different director as well.
Yeah.
And she's excellent. Sarah's really good.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah. We're actually
she's picked it up so well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, funnily enough, it's Sarah's first time directing anything that's live action-y, single camera-based filming. She's done stuff on stage before, I think. I remember her saying. So, she's actually taken on the job really, really well. She's done an excellent job. And to be honest, it's crazy, isn't it, how people perceive filmmaking and all that jazz as something that's dead simple to do. You press record, right? You just jump onto set and press record. Totally.
You just point and click.
Definitely not. It's not the case in the slightest, is it? You've ran audio today on the project.
For the first time ever.
So what's really nice is because we have a very small crew and we have a very nice little set of contacts, we like to change it up a bit and work on different roles per set day, just to make sure that everyone has that all-round experience of filmmaking, because it helps us as producers to know exactly the roles that everyone else takes on set. So you come from an acting background, so therefore you've not had the chance to do anything camera-wise or anything audio-wise. So today was your audio day. Did you enjoy the audio?
I was saying to some of the cast, it's just like acting, because you stand around waiting for everyone else to figure out what their fanatics and all that. Yeah. The only difference is I'm holding a big stick and I can't hear things properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy, isn't it, how much you can hear but also can't hear at the same time, because obviously the microphone, you can point it in a certain direction, hear all this noise, and all of a sudden you turn it away, you hear nothing. It's like, oh, what's happening? It's
focused to like whoever's near the microphone. So I'm like eavesdropping on people across the room, and then you're right next to me, and I just see your mouth moving like, I can't hear you, Tom. Yeah. However, I can tell you what everyone's doing after we finish filming.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, isn't it, how you feel like a little bit of a Snoopy kind of person whenever you put on the headset and the headphones.
I won't even hide it. I just keep lowering it in and be like, hey guys, just include me. I can't hear you properly, however.
Yeah. You just see like the boom just sneaking into frame of a system. JD, go away again, please. Go away.
If there's one thing I've learned is if you're ever on set, no matter who you are, and you see, a boom pole, someone's using it, you can tell it's on. Don't clap, don't shout, don't cough.
Yeah.
I may have tinnitus from the amount of people who have either clapped or coughed near the microphone. And it's horrible.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And I think audio is really, really fun. I think it's a really good element in film that people can, if they're not like used to being on a film set or anything like that, it's something that they can jump into and do quite relatively easily, not too easily. It's hard to. I guess it's like a decent video game, isn't it? Yeah. Something that it's easy to play and use, but it's hard to master.
Yeah. Because I asked you, how does this all work? What am I actually aiming for? And you gave me a little box called the task cam, and you said, right, press record, and it sets off. Great. Press it again, it starts actually recording. Easy. Press that button to stop it. Great. I said, how am I going to tell if the audio is good enough? Because of course it'll sound perfect to me. I've got headphones in. I'm going to hear everything great, but I don't know how the task cam's going to record it. And you said, see this little notch on the meter. Every time someone speaks, the bar goes up. I want to get it close to that little notch as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I've spent Elle was taking pictures, And like I've got the mic hovering above the camera, and I'm not even looking where it is. I might even be in shot. I don't know, because I'm too busy looking at the Tascam box, going, "Nah, it's not close enough. Got to fiddle this dial so it goes a bit closer. There we go. Move the microphone a bit further to this direction. There it is. It's perfect now." I'm just sat happy that this little notch is being reached perfectly.
Yeah.
And then someone shouts, and I go, "Oh no, it's blowing the microphone out," and I start twiddling the dials again.
Yeah. And do you know what's really funny? You can use that in multiple parts of film as well. So people do it with focus pulling, and they also do it with what's the word called? Color grading, color correction. They say a lot of the time, don't look at your source monitor when you're color grading or color correcting. They say just look at the histogram. As soon as your histogram is level with all the numbers and all the numbers are right, and your image is spread nicely across the histogram, then look at your shot.
I have
Your
no
shot
idea
will
what a
be
histogram
correct.
is.
So, okay, so a histogram is a depiction of what is on screen, but in waveform, because obviously light is waves, isn't it?
Okay.
And you have certain colours that wave in and out of the histogram. So say, for example, you shoot a shot of the sky, right? The sky can be exceptionally white or exceptionally blue on the histogram, and you can see that at the top of your screen is the hottest temperature. It's above 5,500 Kelvin, and that's... So heat is light. The higher the heat is, the whiter the shot is, and and the more overexposed the shot is, right? The less the heat, so closer down the bottom, the more black the shot is, and the underexposed. So what you try and do whenever you color grade or color correct, more importantly, color correction, is you try and level out your shot so it's even, so it's more accurate to what your brain and what your eyes see, because your brain and your eyes automatically do all this process. Crazy, whatever it is, I don't know, kind of
the creation that is the
whatever
human
tech
body
is in the bloody human brain. It's insane. You do all the color correcting yourself. So like you see a lot of times whenever you actually, more to the point, there was a shot today which actually showed that situation that we were in. So we were shooting a wide shot, and in the background was the window, and it was blown out of focus entirely, really white hot. So on histogram you'll get, if it's in the center of the frame, you'll get your image and it'll be like a neutral color-ish, and then all of a sudden it'll rocket up to the top of the histogram for the center bit and then drop back down again to normal. That's because that white hot spot in the middle that you need to correct itself. And sometimes you can go into post, like in DaVinci Resolve, you can put your little mask around it and just grade that section so it levels out with the rest of the shots. But the actual objective for that thing is to get it right first time on set. That's the most important thing. If you can get it right on set, it makes the whole process easier, the whole post-production bit easier. Everything becomes easier.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the time they say to try and sort your exposure out, to try and white balance, to try and, make sure you do all these different stages to make sure everything's correct.
It's a little bit like, you showed me the camera, our newest camera, that you're showing me all the different dials, monitors.
Yeah.
There's different bars, there's grading, there's wavelengths, there's all these different things. It looks like 5 games in one. And I'm just thinking, like, one person has to track that, or do you have like 5 people looking at each little tiny screen?
Yeah. And what's quite nice is that, going back to the histogram stuff, something that you use on set with focus pulling is length and distance. So the distance between your shot is where the focus is set. You see all those numbers on a lens.
Yeah.
Do you know what they mean? Do you know what they are?
No.
That's distance. There's distance between. So there's 2 types. If you're looking at the focus numbers, that is distance that the thing's focusing on. So in like millimeters or meters, I can't remember which value it is. Then there's another one with your zoom, if you've got a zoom lens in particular. So it will say like 17. We've got a 17 to 70 mil Sigma lens. So it'll say 17 and 70, and as you twist it, the dial will come along and you can see what you're at. We shot most of our film today on 24 mil because it was over the 24, between 24 and 30 mil ish. And then the focus dials will tell you the distance that you're at. So what you can do is you can do stuff like distance measuring before you go into set. So if you know that your character is walking from 4.3 meters to 2.2 meters closer, you look at your focus reel on your camera and go from 4.3 to 2.2 on a focus reel. You don't even have to look at the shot because it'll be in focus. Guaranteed it'll be in focus every time. And they do that for quick focus pulls as well. Sometimes people on set, they put like little tabs where they want to stop. So they'll put a tab on 23 and they'll put a tab on 42 and they'll flick between the two because they know that's their focus spot. I do that quite a lot. I did it with that bit, where she turns around and looks at the camera and goes, "What?" There's a bit there where I knew I needed to go from this point here to that point there. So I just did that, straight that, and that. And it was always in focus.
Spin a quick dial.
Every time. So you get them to, you say to them, right, go to your start point, where you begin your shot. And now go to your end point, focus and focus.
Yeah.
And then that
and to learn the actual position numbers.
And how long it also takes them to get from that point to that point. Because he might be a slow walker. It might take them 30 seconds to get from A to B. So with that being said, the actual whole project is going really well, and the actual production itself is going amazingly. We really can't wait to show you the bits and pieces.
The bloopers. We have a good chunk of bloopers.
We'll have a good bloopers reel this time around. So what we decided to do now instead is every time we edit stuff and we see a blooper, we'll just pick it out and put it into a separate sequence. So we'll just upload the bloopers reel. Like a massive, long one. We can also do the bloopers for the podcast and all of the other videos that we do on YouTube as well. And it's, I'm really excited to show you all of the trailers and the actual shots look great. They look really good. They're really good.
The amount of stuff that gets cut out,
it's definitely something to look forward to. 100%. So with that being said, we're actually going to get on with the podcast itself. That was a really long introduction. But it's nice. It's really nice to talk about projects that are on at the minute, just get it all off your chest and talk about any issues you come across and all that jazz. This is kind of what the podcast is meant to be about. It's about what we learn in that week, or what we learn about stuff that we do when we go on shoot. Maybe we tell some stories that we've gone into, some problems and stuff.
I like the thought that the podcast is just therapy for us to go, I really hate using the boom pole.
Yeah, it's our own therapy, yeah. So what we really want to talk about today is making it happen. So there's something, I wouldn't say an issue, but more of like a thing that we came across this over the past couple of weeks that we wanted to, I guess, address and talk about cards on the table. And that's to do with hampering creativity due to limitations on budget, especially, or limitations on what we can have access to as people, whether that be locations, whether that be time period, whether that be we need £2 million to blow up something, whatever it be. We want to talk about, in particular, the role of the producer in that instance and what we're actually meant to do as project managers in a way. So obviously we know that the role of the producer is to take a project from its very earliest stage in development and escort it through the pipeline until it actually comes out as a final picture. And sometimes when writers, or even that matter of directors, are going through the projects that they've been handed to them, they have issues. And them issues normally lie around, well, can we do this? Why not, if so? And I want to do this instead. And there was an issue where, somebody wanted to have a certain item in the film. Yeah. We weren't too sure if a said item would be affordable at the time. But in essence, it's the producer's job to make that happen. Yeah. And it's their job to, to pull some strings, to get into contact with people, to liaise with whoever it may be in order to try and swindle their way in. It's like, for example, this film that we've got here, The Ghostly
Swindle's
X.
a bad word for it. Swindle makes it sound like we're con artists.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe not swindle then. More like negotiate. Yeah, negotiate, yeah. We both said the same word at the same time.
Jinx.
I'm not allowed to speak for the rest of the podcast now.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's my show now.
You, hi, guys. Yeah. So, say, for example, for this project we've got here. So we've got The Ghostly X, and it's actually set in a bar scene where everyone's... Yeah. The whole thing's actually set in a bar. It goes from bar to toilets to bar again. Yeah. And then...
On a producing side, that's great, because it's so easy to manage.
Yeah. However... what isn't easy to manage is whether people will say yes or no to giving us the bar. Yeah. So obviously we don't actually do any of our projects on any budget at all. We do everything off zero, and we try or keep it as close to zero as we possibly can. There's obviously expenses.
Because at the end of the day, we still need money to pay rent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. So we do actually make our projects pretty much close to £0, 0p, and that's all down to how you approach people and speak to them. So obviously we needed the Butterfly and Grasshopper to...
beautiful place.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. Amazing. Do you know what? Before we carry on, let's talk about Butterfly and Grasshopper first. This is our location that we've actually used for the podcast. No, not for the podcast. Do apologise. But actually, the location that we've used for the filming, and it's absolutely stunning in every way.
We met there just on an off chance to talk about, like, just plan the script, go through the shot lists with the writer Sarah, and say, listen, do you think you're up to directing? This is what we feel we need to tell you ahead of time. And then we're like, okay, so where are we thinking for location? And then we're just looking around like, this place is really nice. Tom, could you just ask, like, if their manager's here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, let's just see what the toilets look like just for that one scene. And then, one thing led to another, and we're like, can I see your manager? Oh, am I in trouble? No. We just want to ask him a question. Can we use this place? Like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh!
And it's like people,
that easy?
People usually put it on like, put that difficulty on a pedestal and say, oh, it's too difficult for me. But they've not tried it. You have to go and ask people. You have to try and be a little bit cheeky sometimes and say, hey, can we use this? On the off chance that they'll say yes, because I can imagine there are quite a lot of places in Liverpool especially that will just go, no way, we can't do that, it's logistically impossible or something like that. They'll go, oh, just give us your email address, we'll send you through some details about it, and we might get back to you.
Like, imagine if I asked, say, I don't know, let's say Wetherspoons.
Yeah.
If we asked, hey, can we film in Wetherspoons? They'd say, no, not unless you can book the area off.
Yeah, and contact the media team and make sure it's right to our image and stuff like that. But the Butterfly and Grasshopper is a new place. It's in Liverpool. It's down by the bombed out church. They're just starting up. They've been open 7 weeks.
On Renshaw Street, I think so.
Renshaw Street, yes, that's right. They've been open for 7 weeks. Brand new place. Does food, does drink. They're open 12 noon until 12.
Really nice quality
until midnight.
Stuff, to be fair.
Yeah,
I was looking at the menu and I've been eyeing up that duck eggs.
Yeah,
it's like nicely spiced duck eggs, and see, I might get it after we finish filming on Thursday.
Yeah, the place is swish, and the actual venue is really cozy and nice. They've got like a ground floor area that's dead nice, and then they've got like an upstairs section that's all like jungle. Was it jungle themed? It's got like plants and stuff everywhere.
It's based on the actual animals, butterfly and grasshopper. Even the toilets are labelled butterfly or grasshopper instead of male or female.
Yeah, and
it's warm, it's cozy, it feels luxurious. And I think the important thing to mention is when we asked, they didn't ask, pay this fee up front. We didn't have to haggle or anything. They recognised that there's more ways to pay someone, essentially. Because all they asked is we talk about it. We update on like social medias.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
That is more than okay with us. Because to be fair, I'm going to start recommending this place outside of work.
Yeah.
Because it looked just really nice.
It is honestly some place that I would actually go to have a drink with someone.
Yeah.
Just to hang out or whatever.
And that's probably what we're going to do after we finish filming.
I can imagine that most of our... Because we have Worthit business meetings and stuff. I can imagine that most of our meetings will end up being there.
Yeah.
Because it's a dead nice place. It's dead chill. But yeah, so that's all... That leads us back to a point of making it happen. We knew we wanted that particular location, so we were willing to go the extra mile to say, hey, guys, can we please use this location? And fair enough to the guys, they were absolutely lovely. They were absolutely amazing. And they said yes, and now we're in there filming. And we've got, today, which is Tuesday, then we've got Thursday and Friday filming there in the mornings. We're doing it before business hours open, so that, again, is something that catered into our plea, our ask, because we didn't need the place whilst it was open. Because every time we shoot a nighttime scene, we often reside to shooting it in the day because it's better. It's easier to colour grade and stuff into night. And then so they said yes. They were dead chill about it. They were great. There's similar situations that we've come across as well where people have said to us, oh well, so people like they reckon it could be visually represented on screen. So whether it's like a lot heavy on VFX or doing like maybe it's an alien city, for example.
Yeah.
Well, that's doable still. We can always work around that. We've not got a budget, but we can always, learn. There's learning, right?
Yeah.
If you can't find a decent VFX artist that won't charge a bomb, then learn yourself and do it. Or if you feel like, oh, we're gonna need like a wasteland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So go into an open space out somewhere in a park somewhere, put up some green screen around it, and learn how to VFX a wasteland.
Yeah.
It's there's always ways and means around stuff, and there's a particular one that's coming up where we were going to need a hospital, weren't we?
Yeah.
Now it's very tough to get into a hospital.
Yeah, because those are locations, those are beds that someone actually needs, and that this kind of rolls into making it happen, where you reach a point of right. We looked at the scene, well, okay, what can we do to make it happen? So we looked at the contact the hospital, and they openly say, listen, we can't afford to give a bed out or even a room because we need like silence for the actual filming.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To which that's fine. But then it's like, but you can rent it out. It's like, how much does it cost? It's a large number.
It's a very
It is a very large number, and rightly so, considering the job they're doing.
Uh-huh.
So then it comes to, okay, what can we do as an alternative?
Yeah.
You can either change the script, or you can build a set by scratch.
Uh-huh.
We thought about building a set, but then that requires us to make a bed that specifically looks like a hospital scenario. We also have to get some kind of heart monitor or something on the side. It's typical things you'd find in a hospital scene. That's really hard because hospital beds are very unique.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So we've had to look back and say, what can we do alternatively on that scene instead?
Yeah. And rewrites need to be similar to the story. They can't contradict anything. They can't go against continuity. They have to be, they have to fit well. So when you rewrite that hospital scene, for example, it was rewritten to a doctor's office.
Yeah.
So, doctor's surgery, we can get that dead easy. 2 chairs, a desk, like a computer, and then some generic, medical related posters on the wall and stuff. Simple, really.
Much easier.
We could even probably get in touch with GPs and see about hours, place we can go and film in.
And instead of characters being in this hospital bed scenario, you can have them after they've left. So it comes across as less intrusive, but you're still keeping the narrative up as though it was, hey, here we are after an accident.
And at that point, a rewrite of a script should only be at the last resort. So you need to have tried everything first before you get to that last resort. And also, you need to justify to yourself, why can't I do step 1? Why can't I get a hospital? Okay, I've got good reasons for that one. Why can't I do step 2? Why can't I build a set of a hospital?
Way over
exactly.
hundreds of pounds.
There's another good reason. So then step 3, obviously the final straw. Let's rewrite. Let's have a look at something else. And rewriting a script is a natural process. It happens. We mentioned
easy.
Even in the first podcast that
pain.
Yeah, so we mentioned in the first podcast that interview was rewritten 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Yeah, even it was written as we were on set. We were rewriting bits and saying, "No, that's not going to work. Let's just change that." We saw Sarah today actually making her own edits to the script because she realised that that wouldn't work right there. Let's just cross straight through.
She was adapting then and there. It's like, well done.
Yeah,
because you're doing the thing that we didn't figure out until last week.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just goes to show that all that planning beforehand really, really affects the actual shoot day.
Yeah.
Because obviously, another key role of producer is being able to schedule, to production manage, to get people in places, get everything in the right order. And I felt like the production management for this particular project was up there, right up there, because things could have very easily fallen apart, but they didn't, because everything was planned to a T and planned so much that there was even when there was room for error, it wasn't that great because we'd already taken steps in order to get over that, I guess. So yeah, that's a really good thing, and that's making things happen is, I guess, doable to an extent. There are certain points at which you have to say no.
You just got to put your hands up and say, listen, we can't do this at the present moment.
Yeah, and that's when you either do one or two things. You either take it back and say, let's just delay it a little bit. Let's take another project on in the meantime whilst we figure out a solution. Or you then say to them, look, you're going to have to go somewhere else. You have to just take the project somewhere else. We can't do it. I do apologise. Sometimes
and
things
nobody
work
wants
out.
to say that to anyone,
not at all.
whether it be a client or ourselves, and just look at anything and go, we really want to do this, but we can't. Nobody likes that scenario.
Yeah. Yes, it is a shame. So currently at the minute, as Worthit stands, we've got this project coming actually on Valentine's Day, funnily enough.
Oh.
Obviously it's a love story, and it's a nice little film. It's got a little bit of heartbreak, it's got a little bit of tension in the middle, and then a lovely happy ending, which is quite rare in our films. Our films don't necessarily have a happy ending all the time.
We're hoping to change that in the coming months.
Yeah, I mean, we look back at Hunted last year, and
that was
main
a
character
grim
died.
ending.
Yeah, they got shot a couple of times.
You look at Interview, that is a depressing end.
That's also a depressing ending. You looked at On Call. I mean, that was a funny ending.
Yeah, no, that one was good.
Yeah.
We got a free pass there.
We got a free pass there. And then
we can
this
do
one
happy endings.
has a nice ending. And then...
Alright, so then the next one's going to be depressing then. I've seen a pattern.
Yeah, we have to do alternates now. Yeah, that's it. So in order to develop ourselves as well, we're looking at different genres and different methods of filmmaking to try and, to see which bits we reckon that we can tackle better. Obviously, there's easier projects than others. I reckon, in all honesty, that the project we're doing right now is easier than the last one we did, and
Definitely.
it's easier than the one before. I think this is probably our easiest project that we have done, but that's just due to the simplicity of the story and the
I don't know.
simplicity.
I think On Call was easier.
You reckon?
Well, On Call, because I noticed the main thing that has caused the biggest difficulty is locations. Location. With, say, like Interview, we use so many locations on that.
Yeah.
We had to, like, organise shoot days weeks apart just to get one place or another thing.
Yeah.
And it was this long slog of waiting and getting there. But whereas with On Call and Ghost X, we're in the same building or the same spots, and we can just do it all. Go.
Yeah.
Straight after.
I think that the most difficult stuff is always the most interesting and the most fun. By a long way.
Oh, it's most interesting and most fun. It's also most infuriating and stressful and
Do you know what?
inducing.
The weirdest thing is, I find it more interesting to be in a tough situation where you have to make a decision or you have to have a solution out of something, or there's a problem and needs solving. I find that is more interesting for me than being in a straightforward film set.
Oh,
If
same.
everything falls
Like,
into
'cause
place, I'm like, this is boring. What's next? You know what I mean?
I'm in the same mindset, but it's like you don't want something to go wrong. But at the same time, when things go wrong, that's where things start to vary. You get new things that you didn't think of initially.
Yeah.
That level of, what would the term be? Not variety, but like flux.
Yeah.
It changes consistently and it's great. It's magical.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just annoying when you're looking at something and it's having to change and it's falling apart right in front of you. You're like, oh no, we got to write the script for a 7th time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, I guess. So moving on from this, I guess it's sort of moving on, but it's sort of not moving on. Moving on from the topic we just talked about combating creative decisions and ensuring that people are fully aware that we can do our utmost to actually make the project happen. We're going to talk a little bit about what we can do as producers to end up streamlining the overall production process. So if we look at the actual filmmaking as a whole, if we were to make a short film tomorrow, or you can do like a one-day short film competition, you start with your script and your story, you get your iron out and you know what's happening from A to B to C to the end of the story. You then develop it to a point at which you're ready to start pre-production. You've got your story, you've got your script, you move in, you start, you acquire your director. You then work on your storyboard and your shot lists, your scheduling for the actual shoot days. You then take a little look at casting, you do your casting stuff, and then you go straight into production. But all of those little processes take a while. They take a long while. Because even inside of those processes, there's different subheadings of risk assessments, of budgeting, of... I guess it's almost like building your entire mini business per film.
Yeah.
It's a crazy amount of paperwork sometimes. It's a crazy amount of...
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like moments where we're just sat down at like the laptop just typing out stuff that we've typed out hundreds of times before.
Yeah.
And one of the most obvious processes that we could do to ensure that doesn't happen ever again is to create templates. And templates are a really useful thing that you can copy and paste no matter what. You can have your contract templates, you can have your production schedule templates and all that jazz, shot list templates, script supervising templates. I've got templates coming out of your ears. Oh my God, you can vomit templates for days and days and days. But, at the start, sometimes it feels like you're taking hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at your day to make this massive document that's going to end up being a template. But what people do have to realize is, you have to invest some time, maybe even sometimes some money, in order to make the project work better in the future. So right now, at this moment in time, as we've just come towards the end of making all of our templates and towards the end of buying our basic kit, I'm sat here now thinking, damn, we can really knock out stuff fast. Really fast.
Yeah.
Today for this podcast, right? We've come in, we've sat down, I've set up a small tripod, I've set up the microphone, and I've hit record.
It's not even on a stand or anything. We've literally just lined it on a table.
Yeah. And we've hit record. Just like that.
Yeah.
And it's professional quality. It's good audio. It's reliable. You know, I could tap on the Tascam, which is quite a distance away. And you can hear it loud. It's peaking. It was peaking then.
Yeah.
You can hear it loud. It's really decent quality. And it just goes to show that just a little bit of time and a little bit of investment really does assist the overall product.
Because this equipment is now with us forever until we get either something bigger or it explodes or breaks somehow.
Yeah.
Fingers
Dies of old
crossed.
age. What, fingers crossed that it breaks somehow?
No, fingers crossed it doesn't break.
Oh, you failed to explain that bit. I think when fingers crossed it breaks. What are you hoping for, JD?
I mean, how's the insurance looking?
Yeah. So, you know, that kind of first investment, it's so vital to ensure that you do that kind of thing and really look ahead and just plan and just think, what do I need? What do I need to do now? You'll be sat there for long days before production thinking, I've really got nothing on today at all. But you do. You have loads on. You could set. You could prep yourself for edit. You could do so much bits and pieces.
Write a script.
I could give, for example, JD, if you turned to me like tomorrow and said, I've got nothing to do today, I could give you a list of things that you could do.
Not gonna lie, I will never turn to you and say, I've got nothing to do. Because I know you'll give me work. And I'll try to play Overwatch.
Yeah, that's it. So in order to streamline the production process, it's just all about
Not telling your boss that you got nothing to do.
Not telling your boss you got nothing to do yet. No, but like looking forward in time and looking forward and saying, what can save me effort down the line? And that really helps when coming to actual production as well, because you'll have all your eggs in one basket and you'll be ready to shoot. You'll have done all your shot list, you've done all your practice, you've done all your blocking, you've done all your cast meets and stuff. The cast have been briefed with the script, they know exactly what to wear when you turn up to set. They know to like the very closest second what time they're going to be on set through to when they wrap. And as soon as you hit every single point at that moment in time, as long as you do or reenact all the stuff that you planned, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And also, something that I learned the hard way is even though you in the first instance when you make your first film, even though you go through all of that planning, it's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point at which something will go wrong and you have to work in order to solve that problem. And then when it gets down the line, you come to your 5th, your 6th, your 7th film, you've been and seen all these situations before and you know what the solutions are. So they don't become problems anymore. They just become an element in film. Yeah.
We know the problem's going to happen. We don't know when, but it will. But we've got a solution for it already.
So something that happened to us today was we turned up to set our call time, which was 8:30 this morning. We turned up and there was nobody in the bar.
No.
Not a soul. The cleaners had finished early and they'd gone home. We found out that later on. So we had a contingency to go and nip down to a cafe to brief the cast, to brief the crew, to get everyone reading through their lines, get everyone happy and warm and coffeeed up and fed because it was early, Yeah. And it worked. Everyone was on time. Everyone went to the cafe and everyone stayed happy because we had that contingency. We had that plan in place.
And then as soon as we heard that the owners have gone in, the chefs are getting ready and the doors are open, we're like, right, no, everyone, throw your coffees, let's go.
Yeah. So we knew that we had contingencies and we had extra plans. We had a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. So we knew for a fact that we didn't need to panic. And that's the most important thing, not panicking.
Because the moment everyone starts panicking, then everything goes awry. People lose hope that you know what you're doing. And then everyone starts thinking, maybe today's one of those days I'll just stay in bed.
If you're a producer on a project, you're in charge.
Yeah.
It's your project. So you have to make the decisions. And if people see that you're worried or panicking or sweating about something, they're also going to worry, panic and sweat about it.
Yeah.
And that's not in a comfortable environment that we want to be in. We want to be all chill. Everybody wants to be happy, That's the toughest thing, I reckon, about being a producer at times. Because you've got to have that calmness and that level-headedness in order to be successful.
It's weird that you mention it because before coming to this, one of my previous jobs was in security. And it's a similar principle where everyone looks at you and you're meant to be this cool-headed, you're in charge, you're security, you're the security guard in front of the shop, nobody messes with you. But you know full well that person across the aisle is stealing. You can't out them, and you're really nervous about it if they do anything. But you just got to stay calm because everyone's expecting you to be real calm about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone goes, is everything okay? And you go, yeah, sure, why?
Absolutely. So having that face, that businessness, I guess that level-headedness, just to make sure that everyone does know if it's okay. You know, if you're like friends with someone, you've known someone for a long time, you'll be able to tell that they're stressed.
Yeah.
Anyway. But as long as other people on the outside can't tell that you're stressed.
Yeah.
It's game.
Like the amount of times I've looked over at you when things go wrong and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I can see it and everyone's like, no, he's so level. Tom's so level-headed. He's so calm. And I'm like, he's panicking.
Yeah. His head went 5 minutes ago.
I can hear him screaming internally.
But on the outside, it's okay.
You keep your professionalism.
I've got
You
it.
just focus on the problem.
And I make a decision. And that decision ultimately affects the entire production. So it's, sometimes it's quite a lot. And I can imagine as we get further into more projects and stuff, that decision that we make will get more and more important because it will regard money and it will regard people. And, working extra hours and, do I, save £1 million here because I want to make a decision about not shooting somebody skating on ice? Those decisions...
It's going to reach a point where we're sat on set thinking we could do with a few extra shots just to be safe, but then we're going to have to pay everyone another hour's wages and that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I guess that also stems into another part that I kind of wanted to talk about, which was making a decision regardless of whether you believe that you're being nice or not is also very tough.
Oh, it's so important.
It is so important. If you feel like that you creatively want to make a choice or a decision that will ultimately affect the entire production, people aren't going to like what you say, people aren't going to like what you do, but you know for a fact that business-wise you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But sometimes you just have to suck it up and get on with it. And in reality, at that moment in time when you mention the issue, you have to get it off your chest. And it will be awkward. It'll be tough. But then, when weeks, months, years even pass by, you look back on it and think, damn, I'm glad you made that the choice. Or, talking about that was really good. So with that being said, JD, you're actually sacked.
Wait, what?
No, I'm joking. But
I'm sure I'll look back in 5 years' time and go, oh, I'm so glad he made that choice.
feet up in Hollywood. Absolutely set.
You're joking, right?
Yes, I am. No, but honestly, sometimes decisions are hard and you just need to suck it up and get on with it because in the future, it'll be the right decision. And you've got to weigh things up and think, is this a decision that is right to make now? What will impact will it have now, in 10 years, in 3 months, in 2 weeks?
Because you're looking at the good version where you look back and you're like, I'm glad we made that decision. But it works both ways. You can still look back and go, man, I dropped the ball on that one choice.
Yeah.
I made a call.
Yeah.
But that's the important thing is, as a producer, you've got to make those calls. You're the person everyone's going to look to when things go awry. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more important that you make a call, whether it's right or wrong. If you believe it's right and you honestly think it's the correct thing to do, then do it. If it goes wrong, you made the wrong call, but at least you made one.
Learning is the most important thing, and learning is what we do week in, week out. So that is actually the end of the podcast episode of Make It Happen.
Are we at the limit already?
Yeah, can you imagine? It's great, isn't it? Great.
Oh man, that means I get to go have a nap.
So ultimately, what we've learned this week is that we as producers have a really big role in order to shift a project from start to finish. And we know in a fact that our role is to do everything within our power to make something happen and to make something work. We can streamline our production process as much as we want. We can make tough decisions as much as we want as well. And that will ultimately impact the way in which we do stuff in the future. So,
is that what you learned from all this?
100%. What did you learn?
I learned I don't want to keep operating a boom mic. It's really stressful on the arms.
It is stressful on the arms. Agreed. It's all a fun process. Filmmaking is a great, fun process. I can't wait to make more films. I'm really looking forward to this film coming out as well.
And just to throw it out there, if you're thinking of making films, do it. Do every aspect though. Because as I'm still learning to produce in every way, shape and form, I'm also taking on in each project a different role. Like we mentioned before, this film, I'm doing the audio. I'm learning things that I didn't know before. It helps me now understand in the future projects, oh, I need to give that guy a heads up so he can get this, that and the other out of the way. And it makes every other aspect of my job, my entire career to be fair, that much easier. If I go on to another film from here on, and I'm with another actor or something, I'm like, hey, do you want to just practice lines? I might pull the boom guy and just say, listen, do you want to check the audio as we just rehearse while everyone else is faffing about doing X, Y, and Z? I'll now have more sympathy for the guy who's trying to get the microphone in between me and someone else.
It's so important as producers to know everybody's role.
Exactly.
100%.
So if you're going into the big leagues and you're going full force, learn everything you can on everyone's sides. Learn why the person in the corner who's fiddling on a camera or a few buttons is doing it for the right reason. He's not just on Facebook. He's actually figuring out the audio levels or the color grading or focus.
Yeah, 100%.
Do it. Learn as much as you can, and it'll help you in any other aspect.
So, guys, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. JD, thank you for coming on again.
Thank you for having me. I'm sure at some point you're just going to kick me off or get rid of me or just fire me like that joke.
Not a chance. No way. But
was a joke.
Over
right?
the next few weeks, we've got some really exciting episodes planned and some really exciting content coming for you. Of course, we've got the film coming out, and we've got more films coming in the future too, anyways, that we can talk about.
12 films, 12 months.
Yeah, 12
Let's go.
films, one film every single month. And of course, we've got content on the YouTube channel too. We've got the tutorial series, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to.
We've even got plans past the 12 and 12 as well. Don't
Absolutely.
forget. Not going to reveal those yet,
but
they're in the works.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, of course. If you listen to it on Spotify, then hit that follow button to, subscribe to more content coming out. Google Podcasts, I have no idea how you work. Just listen. If you're watching on YouTube, then make sure you hit the subscribe button for more content. Go and check out our playlists and stuff. You can have a look and see our tutorial series and all of our short films, behind the scenes stuff, the blooper reel, and all of those good bits and pieces. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.